putting the gig, you know, echo up, if anyone is wondering who that is. And so it takes longer than the 30 minutes she talked about earlier to put up an echo for an hour and 45-minute class. And this summer I was doing 3.5 hours. And so I broke that up into 2, you know, yeah. So, but they love it. So that's my echo plug. I think that there's no reason for us not to be recording our lectures, I think. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'm talking about screen annotation, and really today I'm going to be talking about the smart notebook, okay? So because I think that that's a centerpiece, at least for mathematics, that I think is very crucial. Here's an outline of what I'm going to talk about. I have my own personal story, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what the smart notebook is. Obviously, I'm going to show you it and use an example from calculus. You remember calculus, right? So, okay, I know I'm going to lose half the audience. I'm sorry, I'm going to lose 95% of the audience, right? So, and I'm going to talk about how I use it, and then what can you do with it. Hopefully we'll get to that. So my story is as a math student going to Howard University, HU. I was a math major, and you go into a classroom and you sit there and you write everything the professor writes. It's just that simple. Okay, now I don't know how it is in other disciplines, but that's how it was in mine. And so it's just like in any communication, it is impossible to listen and talk at the same time. Impossible. But yet what we ask our students to do is we ask them to listen to us and take notes. We want them to do both things. And for 4 years, and for 10 years, including graduate school, there I was sitting, writing notes and trying to listen. I think we've all been doing that. We've been doing that for a lot. We're at the top of our field, so we've been in education for a long time. And so this is as recently as 1998. As a matter of fact, for me, as recently as 2004, when I got my PhD, I had been in a classroom environment, writing notes and trying to listen to what my professor was trying to say. And I think we can all agree that is not the optimal way to be doing things. That's why I think that the Echo is great. That's why I also think that the smart software is great. Okay, so here's my statement. I think this statement is why I think that this event, for me, is one of the most important events that we have on this campus. And it's because we now live in a technological world where the priceless words of us are no longer lost forever, never to be heard in exactly the same way. There have been many times in which I've heard my professor, I've been writing, my professor says something, I say, wait 1 second, say that again, and he says, I can't say that the same way I just said it, right? And then I just feel like I've lost it, and I'll never have it again, right? Another plug for Echo. However, if he writes it down in Smartboard, right, if he was writing it down in Smartboard, then I would be able to have it forever, for as long as I want it, right? So I think that that's a serious benefit, and I think that we can profoundly change the way in which students do work at home, right? So that if I do something in the Smartboard and they can, and I write my notes in the right way, then they can go back and look at it and actually question themselves and say, how did he get this? Where does this come from? And so forth, even without the Echo. Okay. But for me, they so innately go hand in hand. All right, so let me go ahead and open up Smart Notebook. So that, first of all, I have the bamboo tablet, the second time this has been shown. For me, it was about $60. I think it is absolutely worth it. It was worth it for me because I'm never going to teach any other way ever again, right, unless something really amazing comes across. So for me, it's a very simple investment to go ahead and make it. Let me also say about the tablet that I can go and change any, it just doesn't work in Smart Notebook. I can go to Microsoft Word, I can go to any item or whatever, and it works just like a mouse. Okay, so please.
Microsoft has a product, OneNote.
That's right, it does.
I bought a tablet,
yeah.
a laptop, specifically to do this.
Yeah.
And when I used Smart Notebook, it was awful.
Okay.
When I used OneNote, it was better.
Okay.
But I think that thing that you're holding in your hand
yes.
is what will make it good.
Okay, yeah, so I think, and this is cheaper.
Was great.
Okay.
Right on a
you had me worried for a second. I thought I had to defend myself. Okay.
tablet notebook thing, with the folding.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So I think Wacom has just got it down now. So I already have it open, and I have a number of these that are untitled. Okay, so here's the regular screen, okay? And so So you can go in and let me go ahead and bring up a problem. So I think I have it here. So no, I don't want to do one of these. So
Like 1 and 1.
1 and 1 is 2. Oh no, I got to listen. I got to do something a little bit. Let's go back here. So let's go here. And some people were mentioning about the board, right? So I'm not using the board or anything like this, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Smart, and I want to do this problem. Oh, please. On this? No, it's on my laptop. Oh yeah. Oh, so on the tablet, this is going to be a commercial for the tablet. So for the tablet, there's a rectangle, and the rectangle mimics the screen. So if I'm in the corner of this rectangle, I'm in the corner of the screen. Okay.
But if you're on your symposium, aren't you seeing the whole screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Oh, you are. Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's about feel. But for me, it took 3 minutes. I mean, it took less than 3 minutes. It was in the seconds, right? So the rectangle. So I'm just doing it now, and I'm not even thinking about it, right? So I know exactly where I am. Please.
You're not seeing a thing on the tablet.
I'm not seeing a thing on the tablet, but it's so intuitive. I mean, it just fits. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, when I do this, I know exactly where I am on the screen. I know I'm by the X, right? So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, because that's
Because
the upper
the
right-hand
square,
corner.
yeah, it's the upper right-hand corner of the rectangle,
It's
right?
like a weatherman, he had a blank screen.
Exactly.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah.
Practice, yeah.
That's right, yeah. I would like to do this problem, okay? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead into Smart Notebook, and then I'm going to, I think it's that one. I want to take a screen capture. You can do this with the snippet application that is already on your laptops, okay? So I'm going to use a box, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to just take this problem, right, and it puts it right in to the Smart Notebook, okay? And now I'm going to do this problem. Is it okay? So I've given you a function, and here's the function, and I want to know the highest value and the smallest value of this function on an interval -2 to 3. I've already intimidated you, I know. All right, so all I'm saying is that if you allow, I'm sorry?
The time man.
That's right. If you allow x to be any value between -2 to 3, and you plug all those values in, what's the highest value and what's the lowest value? That's what I'm asking, okay? So, of course, the first thing we'll do is we'll graph it, okay? So I'll pull up Maple, and then I'll graph 2x cubed.
Oh my gosh. This is almost harder than the chemistry we had this morning.
That's right. Minus 3x squared. Right, so I'm going to give you the answer, minus 12x. And I think it was minus 7. So
Yeah.
plus 1.
Plus 1.
Plus 1. Okay, so. And let me say that I plus 1, and then x equals, I went from -2 to 3. Thank you. All right, so there's the plot. There it is. Highest value looks like it's at here, and the lowest value is here. Okay. Now let me say, a decade ago, I would have never seen this graph. Okay, so we all can get software on our computers that we get for free. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I want this too, right? So I'm going to do it the other way. I'm going to go to Snippet, if you don't want to use that one, the snipping tool.
It's under your accessories if you don't have it up.
Right, and you just need to type it into the bar, and the bar will get it for you. So I want to just take this, and again, I guess it's a magic trick to you, but I'm not looking at the tablet at all. Okay, and then I can just go here, and then here, though, I'm going to have to copy and paste. If I don't use the Smart software, it will not automatically paste it for you in the document. Okay, and so then I can resize this. This is a little too big for me, okay? So I'm going to put it there, right? And so very simply, I want to know, here's an arrow, I want to know this value, and I want to know this value. That's the highest value and the lowest value. And so literally what happens when I'm doing this, what I have seen, because what's so great about this time is that we are living in the transition from the chalkboard to this time, and so we get to see the change, right? So when I was teaching in Virginia, right, and I had nothing, right, and that's not, I mean, that's simply because, you know, they were not up on the technology, but it's a great teaching school, okay? But I had the board, and as I was saying earlier, that it was a struggle to make this point. And when I wanted to maximize this, I could not, I mean, I had to make the axes and draw this and point, and by that time, I'm not a good drawer. I had lost everybody. But what's interesting is that you put up the picture, right, and people will look. Everyone is looking up here right now, right, simply because it's right here, right? I mean, that's the event. Say it again? I'll take that as a compliment. But also, let me just say that, I mean, particularly after 3.5 hours this summer, it doesn't matter how dynamic I am, but people are still looking at the screen after 3 hours. Right. Yeah, so, I mean, that is...
And it's math.
That's right. We can edit that part out, right? I hope we can edit that out. Okay. So, you know, and I'm going to save you all of this, so I'm going to save you the calculus here, okay? So, but here you take a derivative, right? So what the derivative does is that it tries to measure where you're flat, right? It measures how fast you're changing. And one of the nice things about smooth functions is that at smooth functions, look here, we're flat, aren't we? We're flat here and we're flat here. And so the derivative should be 0. No, well, let's just make that clear, right? So,
It's okay, I'll believe you.
no. All we're saying is that if you're at the top of a hill that's smooth, then it's flat up there. Right? We're flat. That's all. Is that not flat? No? Okay.
Don't ask me, I can
Okay.
do it.
Yes, please.
Can you do this also on the symposium as well?
Oh, you can, but again, I don't want to be doing all of this stuff. I prefer to just do this, right? So, I mean, you can, absolutely, but it's just a matter of style. Yeah.
I mean,
Please.
It's using the same technology.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
I tried the
Yeah.
others here. Dr. Vinay is pretty good at this. I tried the first time it took me a long time because I didn't know where it was. I was in the math field, but I tell you, getting the
Right.
X over there, I didn't know where it
But
was.
and let me ask you.
Writing the letters was like a third grader writing.
Oh no, and I have to say this. You're absolutely right. There are two things. First of all, we're using this one exactly. You were using
I'm
this.
using that.
You were using this. Okay. And then the second thing is you just have to say, you know,
Practice.
you have to practice, but you have to also lose any ego about how bad your handwriting is. Everybody knows I've written F comma X, and if you don't know that, then you just have to get used to my handwriting because I'm not going to write it any better. Okay, so I mean, I was so self-conscious, particularly with the echo. Like, you know, I was so worried about fumbling or making a mistake, but we make mistakes in class, right? And so what's nice about that is that, again, the students get to see us do this live, and they get to see us make mistakes. That is part of the learning process, right? We are not perfect people. And if we go up there trying to pretend to be perfect, then we're going to have students that try to pretend to be perfect, right? And those are bad students, okay? So, so then you take a derivative set equal to 0 and solve, right? Because, you know, there's no slope here, right? You're flat here, and so there's no increase, and so that's what you do. So here, if you don't like the handwriting, then you can put in your own handwriting, right? So, I mean, you can type it in, right? So then I could go here very simply and say, okay, here are the steps, right? So step 1 is to take a derivative and set equal to 0. And then I can say step 2 is then check the endpoints, right? And then it tells me that that's wrong, right? And that's fine. And then I just made a mistake. And then then you compare the function values at the endpoints. And then if I wanted to have a warning, that I can go in and then I can just simply put a warning that says, be careful. Okay. And then, of course, I can put that anywhere I like, right? I can size that and then make that bigger, smaller, and put that anywhere I want to put it. Okay? So I'll take any questions about that. My time is up. But yeah, I don't do it any other way. So I'll have this echo and the links I'll send to you if you want to see this again. But I'm free to take any questions, please.
So what you're basically doing, these would be your course notes. You know
Well, yeah, I was going to say.
Them before them.
Well, no, and again, I'm an organic person, so every class I start with nothing, and we build together. But I can understand completely. You can easily have all your slides together. I should just make it clear too that you have unlimited pages, okay? And what I usually do is that I will go ahead and just use as many pages as I want, and then I can then export it as a PDF.
And you can import into it.
That's right, and you can import. Oh yeah, you can import with Microsoft Office, and also you can print your PDF as a Smart document and then upload it as a Smart document and alter that as well. But then I print this as a PDF and I send it to all my students as an email along with the links for the Echo, and so that there are no excuses. There just aren't any excuses anymore, right?
Oh, that's so far away.
Yeah, exactly.
You have a question?
Please, please.
Well, I'm just trying to, I've never seen this before.
Okay.
So I'm trying to, I'm thinking of it, it's like a high-level PowerPoint plus screen capture. If you're doing
Right.
Echo
Yeah.
with this, it's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
powerful PowerPoint.
And you can bring in your PowerPoint.
Yeah, absolutely.
Communicate on it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Right, but this looks much more flexible,
Mhm.
dynamic.
Yeah,
And then-
because you can bring up the PowerPoint and
I
then
can
add a
record
page
everything. I
between
can record all
slides.
my
You can record,
classes.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just trying to, and this is our,
All from your computer.
PowerPoint was invented for corporate boardroom, for corporate presentation.
No.
And applications like this for those who are teaching classrooms.
right, and then this is just put together, right?
Yeah.
Right. Really powerful.
Yeah.
Is
Absolutely.
Smart Notebook a program or what is that?
It is a program, that's right, from, the Smart Company, and it's already on your laptop and everything. Now, I've been hearing you have to do something. David was saying you have to do something. It may not be ready to go immediately.
No, now
or-
they have it on everyone.
It's
All
okay.
new faculty should have it on their laptop. So if you go into programs, you'll see Smart.
Yeah.
And you have Notebook and the tool.
Like you-
Is it an alternative to PowerPoint?
No, I mean, you can do stuff here and then print it, and you can export it as a PowerPoint. It becomes a PowerPoint, but I wouldn't say it's an alternative, only because there are no templates or anything like that, no.
It makes your PowerPoint more engaging. It makes
Yeah.
it more dynamic. So instead of just a sit and get for your students, now you're interacting with that.
Right.
You mean because you're drawing on
You're
it?
drawing.
Yeah, absolutely,
Drawing
yeah.
on it,
You
yeah.
can use the bamboo.
Right.
Yeah.
You need, or this, yeah, you can write on this, absolutely, yeah.
But you've got the Echo with it, and so it's a.
And then you're adding another feature where you can capture it and they can have it later.
Right.
So can you write, I come from an institution where you wrote directly on the screen itself.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't need any boards or anything like that. No.
Just show her the pen.
Oh, yeah, the pen is here, yeah. The pen is here, and it's been so long since I've used this thing. Oh, here it is right here. So I wonder if it works, so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not if you're using your laptop.
Yeah, I think you-
Oh, so, yeah,
It's
yeah.
one or
So
the
I'm
other.
using this, so I'm not using this. Yeah.
The
you have a
tablet's just
choice.
much better. It looks like it's more flexible.
Yeah, for me, yeah. And so, I believe that the tablet is better. So, for me, I have found, here's some very simple benefits for me. There's the statement, but for me, very simple, I can face you 100% of the time. There's no more any of this. This is bad teaching. And I don't mean to insult anybody, but how can I be teaching like this? Okay. So.
You gotta look at your screen while you're writing.
Oh, but I could also be doing this. I mean,
Oh, you can look to right.
yeah, I can do this, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then sometimes I'm working through a slide, and then people will say, can you go back? So it forces me, I cannot just run through, sometimes, I like mathematics a little bit. And so sometimes, when I can just run through a problem, and it's like a tornado, right? And so people are just like, well, what just happened, right? But now when I'm going from slide to slide, it's difficult to just go out of control, right? And then obviously, as you said, you make your presentations more dynamic. But then, just like on the board, it's true that students get to see and keep how you do the work, right? So that you can set an example for those. And then I can, if you have other ideas about how it's helpful, it's good. Please, I'm sorry.
For a long time.
I see, how it's easy for, the convenience for the instructor to, be interactive and write. But what about the student? Because I know we're long for the days of go up to the board and work that problem out.
Yeah.
So how, because in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, let's say we get that iPad in 5, 10 years from now, all the students have iPads, and they can work figure out on the iPad, and
Yeah.
it shows up there, but then another student say, well, maybe let me add something, so they chime in, you know, kind of class participation on
Right.
what level are we at at GGC?
In terms of,
Class, you know, the students, you know, chiming in and also, you know, when writing.
Collaborative.
right, I see. Well, no, they have a student edition, right, for if you go to the SMART website, they have a student edition which they can use it too. And they also have, and I haven't really looked into it, they also have where you can do conferences. You can do conferences with students with the SMART notebook. So that they're working on it, you're working on it at the same time.
If you're in one of those lab settings with multiple workstations and you come across a student who's having an issue, that's probably going to be common. Can you do a capture of what's on their screen? Throw it up?
That's a great question.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we have software, and I don't really know the name of it. It's just HP's product, but if you've worked in classrooms where there's been synchronized or net school support, those are classroom management software products, and we have them in our computer classrooms, so we can grab a student's screen and project it up there.
And once it's up here, you can take anything that's on this screen
Yeah.
and put it in the SMART notebook.
So those are in the computer classrooms.
Please.
Do you want to show a 5-minute short clip of your echo?
Oh, sure. So,
Just a 1-minute clip?
yeah. So, but that means but then I have to go into email. Let's see if we have time for that. So.
While you're doing that,
Yeah.
let me mention that we are getting a symposium built in the Fiddle.
Yeah.
Rex is not
He
here.
walked out.
Of course, Mako's not here, so we can make our point stronger that we need it sooner rather than later. So you will be able to come to the CTE and practice with a symposium and do this, you know, some work with
Without
it.
students
Without
sitting in the
students
room.
around, yeah.
And we do have a few of those tablets around if you want to check one out and get a feel for it so you get comfortable. I mean, it has its nuances, but after you start using it, you get a feel for where things are.
If it would help you for me to sit in the room and laugh.
Yeah. So and then with the Echo, they have the RSS feed. So every single Echo I have, you can access it.
You can subscribe to
Yeah.
his Echo channel.
Right. So because someone was asking me, and I don't know whether this is legal, but someone was like, well, I wish I could have your calculus class. I was like, I have the whole class up on Echo. You can subscribe to it. Now, of course, there's some property issues. Whose class is it? Can I sell that class? I didn't think so. Right, so, I mean, whose class is it, right? So, just like Lee did earlier, I'll just do Echo, and then there should be an email coming up soon. Yeah, this one. And again, I send this out. This was for the final. Let's do, and then this is when I forwarded it. I forwarded it to all my classes. Let's see if we can drag it over.
I didn't get it.
Oh, I know, right? Exactly, particularly with the email migration, right?
You
So-
can also post those links into your Blackboard course.
Exactly, and that's
so
what I'm
then
gonna do
they
this fall.
can't say I didn't get it.
Well, they still say it, but
That's
then
the
they
thing.
don't, the thing is they have not looked. It's
Yeah.
a problem.
So the rich media one is the one I usually use. It all depends on how long it takes to
Do
load.
you dress nicely on the days you do an Echo and, you know?
Oh, you can't see me, you only see the screen.
Ah.
So I can be naked, right? So it doesn't matter. But I wouldn't be for
I don't
other
think that would
reasons.
go over too well.
Yeah, no, that's right. So then I'll just click on that, I think. Right, yeah. And then it should load. And so this was on, obviously, July 12th, 2011 in the summer. It's Calc Section 3, and again, it's 3.5 hours, so I broke it up into 2 parts. And so this is part 2. So we take a break after an hour and 45 minutes. Right. So, I know, right? Poor student. What do you mean? It's a blessing, right? So, but so I don't know whether it's going to load or not. But there, yeah. So there it is. Yeah. And so there I am, and then I've already done 18 slides. 18 great slides, by the way. But, yeah. And so, and then at that point, I say, okay, let's stop doing material, and let's now review for test 3. And then I go ahead and work through it. And here's where, I just found preparing for this talk, I had just found the actual ability to type. And so now I'm not going to write this stuff anymore.
But that
I'm
moves
even
pretty
type up.
slowly, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, only because, you know, I'm trying to make sure they understand.
oh, so it's at the same pace as you're writing.
It is. It's
If you
identical.
were typing
Yeah.
60 words a minute, it would be different.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
60 words a
And-
minute.
Yeah, and again, for me, it's helped my teaching because now I have to be methodical and
Organized.
just be very clear. Yeah.
And that would be capturing his voice as
Oh,
well.
it is. Yeah, that's right. It would be.
You don't have
Yeah,
the
I'm
audio.
talking. That's right.
Right.
My voice is there too.
So he'd be talking along with.
Yeah, it's literally just the whole course. It's like your own course at home. Once you get the. Yeah.
So you know those, like, you know how on if you go to on Macintosh site and iTunes.
iTunes,
You
yeah.
can lift lectures
Yeah.
of professors from
Yeah.
Harvard,
Yeah.
whatever, for free.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole.
They call it iTunes U. or
Yeah,
something
iTunes,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. And we should get on it. Yeah.
We should.
Please.
Would you give us
the
the
students don't come to class if they do?
Right, so that's a good question. And what I've found is that I'm going to tell them this fall because I just started doing this recently, that they basically lose a letter grade. I have found that for the people who have not come, that they were supposed to get B's and they got C's, they were supposed to get A's, they got B's, because there are some just technical things. Well, I think the main reason is because when they go home and watch this, or where they're at home, they don't even come to class. But when they're at home, they don't create the environment necessary to get everything that I say. So they have it playing, and they're also doing something else. The music's playing in the background as opposed to being in the class. And I think it cost them a letter grade. There are 4 or 5 people who I think would have gotten better grades if they had come to class instead of just used the lecture.
Does this pick up the questions students ask?
Oh, yeah.
As well?
Yes, it's this microphone, and I found I have not needed, and you have this microphone in your laptops, right?
Mhm.
I have not found that I've needed to add another microphone.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you could.
Oh, but you could, absolutely, yeah. So.
So if you have a student, for instance, been in a car accident in the middle of school year.
Oh, I've had that.
And
they've-
they're out for 4 weeks because
A student got bit by a dog in her face, and she was out for 3 weeks, and she just watched this the whole time.
That's better than
And
driving
didn't lose.
my car. I guess.
That's right. It bit her in the face and didn't lose her homework. Right. So.
Thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much. I think we're going to go straight into our final speaker here to talk about Christine Riley, hybrid